Hi, I'm Michael Wilt, Senior Manager of External Relations with the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, and I'm here to walk you through our Texas Supportive Housing Institute application for 2026. I'm excited to be bringing this to you because it means you're a potential applicant to our institute. This is the fifth institute that we are hosting in partnership with the Corporation for Supportive Housing. Our first one was in 2020, and over the years, we have successfully completed four institutes, with this one being the fifth. And for the second time, we are doing a place-based institute. Our last place-based institute was in Austin in 2022, and this is building upon the success of that initiative. And we are happy to bring this to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and offer the Institute to teams that intend to develop supportive housing in either Dallas, Denton, Collin, or Tarrant County. I'm going to quickly walk you through how to apply. And the easiest place to start is by finding the Texas Supportive Housing Institute on our website at tsahc.org. I've already gone to the Institute page. Let me just share my screen real quick. So here we are on the Institute webpage. You can find this under the nonprofits and government section of our website. It's right over here at Texas Supportive Housing Institute. You can scroll down to the Apply Now button located here, and that will launch the SurveyMonkey Apply platform. If you've worked with us through our grant making programs, primarily Texas Foundations Fund as one of our grant recipients, then you're familiar with SurveyMonkey Apply. You might have used this for other grants or for other applications throughout your work. It's what we use to do all of our grant administration and also our institute applications. If you have never used SurveyMonkey Apply before, you will be required to create an account. And so what you will see will look a little bit different than this. This is the page that you will get once you've created the account. And if you click back on the link, it'll look like this for the application link. You will also see something a little bit different than right here where it says see my application. It will say start application. And whenever you click on that, the first thing that you will do is identify a team name. That's a step that I've already taken, which is why my box is gray and not the green Apply Now button. Either way, once you hit that, you will type in your team name, and then you will be taken to this same area as me. The next step is to look for the application form. This is the application itself, and everything that you will need to do to apply will be through this link. So once you click on the application form, you can read through some of our language that talks about the institute dates, what the institute is about. These are all the session dates. And then we will get into what we need to review your application. The most important thing is the lead organization. The lead organization can be almost anyone, but that will be our primary point of contact for the development team who submits this application, and also the primary point of contact for the development team that we will work with throughout the institute. It can be a housing developer. It can be a service provider. It can be a COC, a nonprofit, you name it. Whichever organization is tasked with being the lead entity on the development team should fill this out. You only have to put in one contact name. You do have the option of adding in additional team members as the lead organization. Whatever the case may be, just make sure that they are identified as the lead organization for the institute. The lead organization can also be the supportive services partner, or could also be the housing developer, or could also be the property manager. So We are asking for the supportive services partner next, and if it happens to be the same as the lead organization entity, that's fine. Just put it in again. The other thing that I want to mention here is that we consider a complete development team to be comprised of the services partner, the housing developer, and the property manager. Those are sort of the three legs of the team stool that holds everything up. Now, if you have not identified one of these partners, that's fine. You may still apply. We will work with you from the outset of the Institute and throughout the Institute and help you try and identify these partners along the way. The Corporation for Supportive Housing can also help identify partners. We can lean on others to try to help identify partners throughout the Institute. But again, a fully formed team is the housing developer, services partner, and the property manager. You do not have to have a fully formed team to apply. If you do, you can put all of the contact information for those partners in these fields, the services partner, the housing development partner, and the property management partner. We've also seen development teams in the past, and this is something that we encourage, is to engage those with lived experience. They can be part of your team. Again, this is optional as well, but if you have identified a peer support or a person with lived experience partner, please include them as well. Any additional partners? Sometimes we see people from the design side of things, like an architect who is part of the team. Those partners should be included as well, and you can list those under additional partners. So that's the first big section, is who's on your development team. And once you get through that, we want to understand more about the project that you are proposing. And before I get into this, I just want to say that we like to meet teams where they are in the supportive housing development process. Sometimes that means you have site control. It means you may already have started the permitting process. You may have a fully formed team. You may have be working with design professionals already and coming up with some schematic designs. Or you may just be at a nonprofit who has a really good idea and wants to turn that really good idea into supportive housing development. Wherever you are in this process, given that it can be a really long process, we like to meet you where you are and work with you throughout the Institute. So if you are struggling with what to put as part of the project concept, because it's something that's literally on the back of the napkin that you've sketched out, then your mind should be at ease, given what I just said. Provide as much detail as you can, but we're not going to hold it against you if you can't fill all this out in its entirety. This contemplates that you may have several sites identified. If you already know the site of your potential housing development, then just put it in site one. If you're considering multiple sites, we can allow for up to 3. And also generally describe the populations that you serve. While every person who is unhoused or at risk of being unhoused is the vulnerable population, we realize that some groups work with specific vulnerable populations versus others. So just tell us generally about the clients that you intend to serve or the people that you intend to house. This asks more questions about the design concept. Basically, just want to know total number of units. If you happen to know that, you can just fill it out however you want. If you don't know that information, that's fine. And also, we are considering both standalone 100% supportive housing developments and also integrated, where a portion of the units are set aside for supportive housing units. Typically, with integrated, we ask for at a minimum, a 25% set aside for the number of supportive housing units dedicated within a community. But again, it's a number that we're not hard and set on. And if it's above that or below that, we'll continue to work with you. But we are entertaining or considering both the single site PSH and also the integrated PSH. Also, while this says PSH throughout, I should note that this year we are considering just supportive housing developments. They don't necessarily have to be PSH in name. They can look and operate similar to PSH, but if it's just service enriched housing with deeply affordable units, which some people may just consider supportive housing and maybe not the permanency side of things, we are trying to cast a wider net for the types of developments that we will consider for this institute, knowing that it's place-based and knowing that there's such a severe need for all types of extremely low-income units that we're going to try to help community address those goals across the board. This last section is just a collection of narratives that speak to your organization and the mission and what you're trying to accomplish with this supportive housing development. We want to make sure that there is a nexus between the community that you're trying to build and the mission of your organization. And specifically, if there are any goals that you've identified within the organization that speak to supportive housing and providing supportive housing. And also, and this is mainly for the housing developer partner, but what is their organization's history with developing housing? And also, if it's been new construction or rehab or anything, just generally speak to the expertise of the development partner. If you're new to development, that's fine too. We get a lot of organizations in the Institute that are new to development. It's intended for people who don't have extensive development expertise, especially supportive housing development expertise. If you have that expertise, great. The Institute can hopefully build upon that. But your development is not going to, your development expertise will not hinder your ability to be considered. If you haven't developed a lot of units, great. If you have, also great. And then we want some more details about the development concept, what you had in mind for the services that are provided, if you can describe them, especially with the populations that you may be serving, the services may be a little bit different. If you haven't contemplated this, then that's fine too. It's something that you can revisit later in the Institute, but to the extent that you have, please describe that as well. And then also to make sure that there is a good match between the supportive housing development and what's happening in your community. Again, this could speak to specific populations that are being served by your organization or the housing. If some vulnerable populations are more overrepresented in your community and your housing is trying to address that, we just want to make sure that there's a good match between the housing and the people you intend to serve. Development experience built upon what we've been asking about development concepts. If you have expertise in providing this type of housing, if you've done it before, if this is new to you, again, these are not questions where we're trying to reject people. We are just trying to gather as much information as possible to give us a really complete picture of the development team. Community resources, we want an understanding of the organizations and entities that you partner with on a day-to-day basis or that you intend to partner with on this supportive housing development. Basically, who's everybody in the community ecosystem that can be a part of making the supportive housing development a success. The client feedback is important for us as well because we've put an increasing emphasis on how organizations are engaging those with lived experience and tailoring their housing and services to address that client feedback. So we hope that there is a process in place for existing organizations to gather client feedback and respond to that. And then lastly, the data collection is also important for us, not only internally to make sure that what we're doing is successful, that it's meeting the expectations of people who are participating in the Institute, but also that it's meeting the expectations of funders who have brought this Institute year over year. So we are constantly trying to collect as much data as possible that we can report out and that we can share about the success of supportive housing in general. Lastly, if there's anything that's not covered in this application that you want to add in, this is your opportunity to do so in additional information. We have a couple certifications at the end, and then just mark as complete. And you want to make sure that you've gotten the confirmation that it was complete, because sometimes people get to the mark as complete and there's one more additional step after that to submit it. Just make sure that it's fully submitted whenever after you finish your application. You can always come back and continue to work on this. You can save and continue editing. It'll pick up wherever you left off, but make sure it's finally submitted, which will be another page after this mark is complete. I have not filled out this application, so you won't see that page. We also do a good job of tracking applicants throughout the process. And if we see an application that's completely filled out, but was just not submitted, we will check in with you to see if you did intend to submit. But if an application looks fully filled out, we're still probably going to consider that as a turned in application, because some people just miss that final step. That's it. Thank you for allowing me to walk you through this. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'm the point person for the Institute. My email is MWILT as in Texas at tsahc.org, mwilt@tsahc.org. And again, I'm Michael Wilt, Senior Manager of External Relations at the Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation. Thanks for your time.